Hi everyone, Armoured Pants here, and I have another video for you. This is 5 pro tips anyone can learn and use, and hopefully they are easily explained. I'm a bit uncomfortable about using the term pro tips because I don't regard myself as a pro. I don't have such hubris, but I guess the point is that these are tips that will help you become better players. Basically, and they're tips that anybody can use. You don't have to have a particular skill level or anything. They're all just tips which can be learned and used by any player, and hopefully it'll help. So let's have a look at them. They're not in any particular order, they're not in any particular genre of tank or anything, just 5 tips I think which would be good to share with you. So one is utilizing distance in the game opening in particular to remain unspotted, although you can use it at any time in the game. Using camo net to confirm camo reset. Using adrenaline and other consumables to the maximum effect depending on the tank and its setup, and we'll have a look at that and explain the reasoning behind that. Using ammo effectively, and then lastly switching up to Pramo to maximize the chances of getting an ammo rack. And the last one, by the way, is something I do quite often myself to good effect. I hope that some of you are already using these, so maybe this video will just reconfirm why you should be using them. Maybe some of you are not using them, in which case then it'll be something new and hopefully very helpful to you. Now, those of you who watch my channel a lot, who have seen my videos before, some of what I will say in the video will not be new to you, but hopefully though some of it will be new and useful, and that we can learn together. And this short tutorial will hopefully make us all a bit better players as we just look at the details, look at the elements within this, let's say the compound of this video, that will help us become better players, because becoming better players is a learning curve, right? We should always be learning regardless of how good we are or think we are in the case of many of the players who regard themselves as pros. Now, probably I want to set the context of this video, right? So, and I've said this before in some videos, but for those of you who haven't seen it before, I just thought it would be good to reiterate it, right? So, when I started playing Blitz, which I think was maybe 5 years ago, I'm not entirely sure, I was awful. I was a big steaming pile of poo as a player. I was just awful. I think my win rate on one of my original accounts was like 38%. It might even have been lower. As I said before, probably 34 of that 38% was down to the teams I was on. There's absolutely nothing to do with me. I wasn't a naturally gifted player, so I'm not like Meadsy or as Royal Fatness or any of those guys. I didn't have a natural gift at playing this game. It didn't come to me. Everything I had to do, I had to learn, right? But the good news is that because I learned all of this, I don't have this natural gift. Nothing came naturally to me. That everything that I've learned is easily passed on, because it means any player can learn it, and any player can become a better player by simply learning the lessons that I've learned. And 5 of them are what we're going to discuss today, and hopefully then, if you want to, of course, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make it drink, but if you want to, then hopefully these will help you improve too. And I'm always happy to share things that I've learned and to hopefully shortcut your journeys to becoming better players by sharing the pain that I went through, so you don't have to go through it, right? So we're going to have a look at some actual in-game play. We're going to have a look at some actual tanks to illustrate the points that we're going to make here, these 5 tips, and hopefully then you guys will be able to take note. It will make sense to you, hopefully, and that light bulb will go off, and you'll go, oh yeah, this makes sense, and you can easily do it, and these things then will just come with practice, and hopefully eventually the ideas, they become natural to you. So utilizing distance to remain unspotted. So what are we talking about here? Well, again, it's simply manipulating the mechanics of the game to make you a better player and to give you a slight advantage, right? So I'm going to show you an opening sequence here in a game which probably has happened to all of you, right? So you're in a TD, or a heavy, in this case I'm in a TD. Relatively slow moving, it's not the fastest. I'm going to move across here because, we said at the start we want to go towards C, right? So we're moving across here and we're following the path that many players normally follow, right? We also have a natural instinct, by the way, even if we're not thinking about it, subconsciously to move across the road because we believe it's the fastest route, right? That's where the road is there. But here, if you look to the right, very often you have a light or medium tank with a good view range which pops up on the right hand side, and he is there to try to spot us moving into position. And bingo, I'm spotted. I get lucky, I get a bounce there. But if you look at the distance of the Cromwell, I'm well within his view range. He spotted me up. And not only has he spotted me up, but now the entire red team know where I am. As we know, of course, the light bulb goes off 3 seconds after you've actually been spotted. So I spotted 3 seconds ago. I've already had the first round incoming onto me. Luckily, I got a bounce on that. But of course, I've been my position has been relayed to the entire red team. And then here, I take a round right in the side as I'm moving into position. So before the game has even really started, I've been spotted up and I've had 2 rounds fired at me, only 1 penned, but it could easily have been 2 penned. Or if there'd been another tank with a line of sight onto me, I could have been penned even more. And you find that your game can be over before it even begins. And this is a typical sequence when you're in a slow moving tank, right? Now, we're going to look at exactly the same sequence again, but this time I'm going to move in a different way. This is a different game, obviously a different tank, but the mechanics are the same, right? Now I move to the very back of the map and I hug the red line, and I'm basically adding an additional 30 to 35 meters of distance between me and the enemy. This pushes out the view range. This pushes me out of the view range of a tank that would be in the position where the Cromwell was last time. There's also, so if we look across to the right here, we see that additional view range, that additional meters I've put between me and enemy tanks, potential enemy tanks. Also, by utilizing this position, I'm able to take advantage of the bridge, which breaks line of sight. So while I'm in the water here at the bridge, hugging the baseline of this map, there is no line of sight to me. And look at the difference. Now I arrive into position in the town, unspotted. This is a simple thing. We're going to have another look at it again. Again, many of us in these positions would move up the center of the map here, right? At the center of this channel of the map. Instead, I go back to the baseline again. I'm utilizing the additional distance, so I'm putting an extra 25 plus meters between me and the position you would if you went up the middle of the channel, right, which is where most people go. But also I have this soft cover, these destructible objects, the hay and the shacks in between me, which breaks line of sight. So not only am I putting additional distance in, I'm using those destructible objects to break line of sight. Very simple, right? They're not doing anything there that no player could do. Now look, right, I'm coming up to this position that many tank destroyers use on this map, right? But I have been unspotted. You may think, oh well, there's no reds there. Well, think again. There is an army of fucking reds over at B, but yet I get into position unspotted, right? Now look what happens. We know they're at B because they are actually spotting. They're actually capturing it. But look at what's at B. Look what pops up here. P43, right? I'm actually able to get a shot into him because I was unspotted. But look what else turns up now. T49. If I had gone up and been spotted, he would have spotted me up. He would know where I am, and he could quite easily have rolled me for 1,000 plus damage with a HE round. He is the natural predator of the Scorpion. So again, very simple thing. Nothing that no player who's watching this cannot do. It's very simple. Again, in this map, and by the way, you can do it in almost every map. The natural instinct, as we say, is to move up on the path here, right? Even if we don't think about it, our natural instinct, okay, well, this is going to be the fastest way, and that's where the path is there, right? We always follow paths. That's what we do as people, right? It's ingrained in us right from the time when we were hunter-gatherers, right? But by pushing to the back of the map, I'm adding an extra, whatever it is, 15-20 meters to the distance I am from a potential tank to spot me. Plus I also have that soft cover of that bush on the right hand side. So I'm moving along, I'm hugging the map, and I'm actually going to get into position without being spotted up. Quite often we see going up here in this on canal, going up that path, we get smashed on the way up. But if you utilize this distance the distance that's available to you, you can get there unspotted. Now, resetting camo. So I've just fired a shot here. I've been spotted, the light goes off, right? So what I do is I'm resetting camo, but to make sure I'm 100% sure that I've reset the camo properly, I wait for the camo net signal to come back on. So I'm looking at the bottom of the map, bingo, and now I know my camo's reset and I am unspotted. So it means I can safely move up to this sniping position in this map. Let's have a look at it in a bit more sequential piece of play here, right? So I am in the Scorpion again, right? Again, a tank with no armor, so you definitely don't want to be pushing out if you're spotted, right? Now, here's where I spotted when I was crossing that piece of open ground where there is no buildings blocking line of sight, so I got spotted, right? So 3 seconds later, we're going to see the light go back on, and we know the reds are across, right? Bing, light goes on, so I'm spotted. So I stop. Don't push out because they're all going to be waiting for me to do that. Now, camo net sign comes on. I know my camo's reset. They've lost me. Now I push out. Now look at the difference. That VK100 is facing away from me. If I hadn't reset camo, then it's very probable his gun would be actually just waiting for me to roll out. I'm spotted again because I've moved out and fired. And again, I want to be 100% sure I'm resetting my camo so that I disappear to the enemy. I wait, bingo, there we go. Camo net sign comes on. I know, again I'm unspotted. They don't know where I am. I come out and again he's not facing me. I get another shot off. So basically that's 2 free shots. Now, because I've done that twice, I don't even have to wait for the camo net sign to come on, because I know that the same amount of time has lapsed. I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and it's reset. So now I roll out unspotted and I get another shot in. I'm able to clear him off, and again I roll back and I got to reset camo again. And you know, I know now that my camo's reset, I can roll out and I get another free shot in here and I get another kill. So basically that simple sequence of play, by being disciplined and using my camo net indicator to reset my camo, I got 4 free shots with no risk of damage to me. This next sequence of play is also very, very interesting, right? So my team didn't really spot very well. I got smashed early on in this game, right? And what's interesting here is I'm up against my exact counterpart, another waffle tractor, right? Now, I am a one-shot to him. I've got 34 hit points. I'm one-shot to anything, right? You can actually throw a rock at me and kill me. I've been spotted up, right? Now, he's exactly the same view range as me. He's probably running camo net as well, right? But I had 0 margin for error. So what am I doing here? Well, basically I am utilizing the lessons that we've learned before, right? So I am utilizing the camo net indicator to show that to be certain that I've reset camo, and then I'm using soft cover. So we have the same view range. We're so close to each other that it doesn't matter if we're moving or not. We're well within each other's view range, right? But yet I'm able to roll out unspotted and get an extra couple of seconds, split seconds, on him before he sees me and clear him off. And why? Because I'm utilizing lessons that we've learned, the mechanics of the game. I mean, the fact that I know 100% I've reset my camo, but then I'm also utilizing the soft cover to deliver that kill, simply by using the mechanics of the game. Now, choosing consumable setup is also something very important. We're not going to look at some gameplay here. We're just going to look at the mathematics and the logic behind it, right? So you've got 2 choices when you're setting up your equipment, right? You can use consumable delivery system, which allows more frequent usage, or you can use high-end consumables, which allows your consumables to last 30% longer, right? That's the choice facing us. And most players have a preference. They use one or the other. But in actuality, you shouldn't have a preference. It should really be based on the setup of the tank and the type of consumables you're using, right? So let's look at the figures, right? So there's 7 minutes in a game. So that's 420 seconds, simple, right? High-end consumables have a 90-second reset. Consumable delivery system has a 78-second reset, right? So therefore, it's very easy to calculate how many times you can max use them in the game, right? So you can use consumable high-end consumables 4 times, because you can't use it 0.6 of a time, and you can use consumer deliverable system 5 times. But in actuality, you need to add 1 to that. The same reason why it takes you 6 seconds to fire a 3 magazine round of shells, not 9 seconds, right? Because you used to fire the first one, then 3 seconds, then 3 seconds. So it's the same for this. You add back 1, right? So if you get 5 uses at 20 seconds per usage, that's 100 seconds total potential usage per game. If you use the delivery system, you get 6 usage, but only at 15 seconds. That's only 90 seconds, right? So therefore, for Adrenaline, Engine Accelerator, etc., you get an extra 10 seconds of use per game. If you look at Adrenaline, right, for example, that could basically be 2 additional shots. And if you're playing tier 10, that could be 1,000 plus damage, right? So therefore, it makes sense for Adrenaline, Engine Accelerator, things that have a duration, to use the longer usage, right? But not all consumables have a duration, right? Adrenaline does, Accelerator does, but things like repair kits, etc., don't. So therefore, we need to think again. Some of them are single usage. So therefore, it's simply a matter of the number of times you can use them. How long it lasts is irrelevant, right? So therefore, delivery system is much better here than high-end consumables, right? So therefore, for repair kits, fire repair kits, health kits, etc., consumable delivery system is by far and away the better usage. So what can we learn from this? Well, then it depends really on how you set up your tank and what type of consumables you're using, right? So now we have we can create some basic rules, right? So based on consumables setup, we know that if we have 2 or more single-use consumables, then select consumable delivery system. If we have 2 or more duration or time-based consumables, then select high-end consumables. Simple, right? Very simple rule, and that will enable you to max out your benefit from your consumables throughout the game, right? So basically, if you wanted to put a sticky note onto a fridge with a simple do's and don'ts, this allows you to do more damage, it allows you to run Engine Accelerator longer, it allows you to fire more shots, it allows you to repair modules more often, restore crew health more often, and basically just have a better game, a more effective game. So simple rule, right? If you've got 2 or more single-use consumables, use consumable delivery system. If you've got 2 or more duration-based consumables, then you use high-end consumables. Simple, right? And just make sure you follow that rule, and then that will give you an advantage during the game and hopefully make sure you have a better game. Now, I hope that most of you are doing this, but I think it's good to reiterate, not because we don't know this, but just to reiterate the fact that we should have discipline in doing this. And this is about ammo selection, really, and effective use of ammo in certain situations. So you can't see it here because when you're recording games now it doesn't show it, but have your ammo selector always open, right? That's the first thing. And we're going to show 2 shots on the T44, right? Now T44 front on to me, the optimal round to fire at him is an AP round. I don't need my Pramo to pen him, so therefore the optimal round to fire that's going to give me the most damage when he's facing onto me is the AP round. You see I came out unspotted, so therefore he wasn't able to get a shot off on me, right? Now he's moving in to attack my ally, so I'm going to move in to engage him because I know his gun is facing my ally, it's facing away from me. And here I'm going to slow it down because I know he's facing away from me, so I switch up to HE. That's the optimal round in firing into the back of him where he has less armor, and I do more damage and clear him off, so I get more damage plus I get a kill. If I'd fired an AP round, I would have done less damage and I probably wouldn't have cleared him off because it would be below my max roll with AP. Now here we're utilizing 2 lessons. It's the first lesson about camo reset, so we've reset camo. The T49 now doesn't know where I am. And it's about shell selection. So I'm going to take HE because I know that the armor on the T49, regardless of where I hit him, I can pen him with HE, right? I've reset camo, and now I roll out. I've pre-aimed my gun. Bam, there he is. And what happens here? Well, we know the aiming time on the T49 is really long. It has really big dispersion. So he fires at me and I take it in the tracks. So basically he's fired a HE, actually he's fired a heat round at me, so he actually didn't. If you look at the damage of the bounce, we know that the lower roll shows us that he fired heat. So what does it tell us? Well, it tells us that he selected the wrong type of ammo. I didn't. And the difference there is 1,564 net damage difference plus minus 1 gun difference in the game, simply by utilizing the rules that we discussed. Resetting camo and making the right shell selection. He didn't reset camo and used the wrong shell selection, and there you see the difference. He got removed from the game, I didn't, and I was able to contribute 1564 net damage. That's my damage dealt, my damage blocked to the game. Again, simple example of utilizing shell selection. I reset my camo so the pattern didn't know where I was, and I'm able to roll out, then switch up to HE and clear him off, again doing more damage and clearing off another tank. Now this is maybe a bit of a controversial one, right? But basically Pramo gives you more pen and usually has higher muzzle velocity, right? So especially if it's APCR or the more compacted AP rounds the Japanese tanks fire. Therefore it loses less of that velocity when it hits the enemy armor, and therefore it means it goes deeper and further into the enemy, particularly if it's APCR. If it's heat, it has a different impact, right? So it actually injects molten explosive inside the tank, but it also still goes further and deeper into the tank. So therefore, if you know where the ammo rack is in an enemy tank that you're firing at, if you switch up to Pramo, you have a better chance of penetrating the armor and going into the tank and hitting the ammo rack. Here's an example here, right? So the IS-7 is coming onto me. I know I can pen him in the lower plate with my normal AP round, but I also know his ammo rack is here on the piece of armor underneath the turret on the right hand side. So I switch up to AP. My AP round here in the Japanese tank is the Pramo round. Switch up to my Pramo AP round, and it goes straight through his armor and hits the ammo rack. So basically it's simply applying the laws of physics and the algorithms that Wargaming use to make the game more accurate. Now I'm moving up here on this VK. Now you'll see I switched up to heat. Why? Because I know that he's facing across the valley, and I know he's going to be side onto me. So you're thinking, well, then you don't need heat to penetrate him. No, I don't. But I know his ammo rack is facing me now, and I know that he's heavily armored, even at the sides. So therefore I have a better chance of reaching the ammo rack through the armor using heat. And bingo, hey presto, I get it. So of course, if you don't know where the ammo rack is, then just fire your normal AP round if it's going to pen, because it will give you a bigger roll. So let's have a recap. I think that these are simple tips. They're easily used in your gameplay. I don't think there's anything too complicated there, and I don't think there's anything there that you cannot use. I don't think you need to be a gifted player to use any of these tips. They're really for everyone. And I mean, there's nothing there that you need to be some sort of you know, savant at the game to utilize. There's nothing here you cannot do, right? It's just simple practice, and it's about discipline and using it, right? The SAS famously say that if you train hard, you fight easy. If you train easy, you fight hard. So it's about discipline and preparation, right? And if you think about these tips and discipline yourself to use them, then you can have a better game and hopefully become a better player. So cheers mush. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful. Please, as always, give me your feedback either here on Discord. And I guess now all that remains for me to say is pants off.